What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review, and this time we're going to be covering one of my all-time favorite horror movies, being The Exorcist, directed by William Friedkin, based off William Peter Blatty's novel of the same name. This film stars Ellen Burstyn, Lyndon Blair, Jason Miller, Lee J. Cobb. All right, I'm going to make this brief because I could talk forever about this movie. I love it a lot. One of the main things I want to talk about is just William Friedkin's directing. I love his directing in this movie. I love how he gave it a gritty, realistic, documentary type of feel. I love the atmosphere he creates. Just from that opening shot in Iraq, you're immediately sucked in with the chanting music in the back, and just the whole exotic area of Iraq. The whole desert, and just everything just sucks you right in. And then when it transitions to Georgetown, you get that it gives like an eerie feeling to it. And what I admire most about this movie is that he creates all this atmosphere and tension with no music. There is hardly any music in this film. It's mostly just like sound effects, and it works. It's perfect. It further plays into that documentary type of feel that he was going for. I love it. Will Friedkin directing of this film is top notch. He did a phenomenal job. And the actors he got are class A quality actors. You got Ellen Burstyn, who plays Chris McNeil. This actress and mother whose daughter Regan, played by Linda Blair, is possessed by this demon. And I love how at first she goes to doctors. Like, she tries to see if science can help her, but it doesn't. And then she uses psychiatry. That doesn't work. And then she has to bite the bullet, and now she has to seek to religion. I love that whole progression, as how they look at it as like a minor thing, and how it gradually gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And Ellen Burstyn, to me, played it perfectly. She never went over the top with it. She always felt natural to me. The chemistry she and Linda Blair have is genuine. I believe that they're mother and daughter. They have a really tight bond. Ellen Burstyn, she works for me in this movie. She's a phenomenal actress. And of course, Linda Blair as the unfortunate one, Regan and the demon. Fantastic job. I love how she goes from like this apple pie cute girl to this obscenity spewing demon. The transition from that is just, it's talent. It takes a lot of talent, and I attribute all that to Linda Blair, and I attribute it to William Friedkin also in his directing, and also to the writing of William Peter Blatty, and also to the actress Mercedes McCambridge, who voiced the demon. Like, a combination of all those people made Regan as the demon feel creepy, some would say a little bit intimidating. I mean, looking back at it now, there are some instances where it can come across as a little hokey, but I like how they still managed to keep it grounded and serious for the most part. Because if you're watching this movie back from a 73 point of view, you've never seen something like this before. This is something like straight out of hell, pretty much. So, props to Linda Blair for going through what she had to go through with the makeup, which is by Dick Miller, which is amazing. The makeup in this movie is fantastic. The whole demon makeup is so iconic. You can't go wrong. I also love the character of Damien Karras, played by Jason Miller. I love Damien Karras. Damien Karras is one of my favorite characters in this movie. He is so multi-layered, it's ridiculous. He's this priest who is a psychiatrist, and at the same time he's struggling with his faith. And then be compounded with that, he feels guilt for pretty much leaving his mother alone to die alone. I love all these different emotions that he can convey, and I love how much weight and gravitas he gives to Damien Karras. Again, a multi-layered character to me. Perfect. Lee J. Cobb is Kinderman. He's fantastic as well. I love the scenes he and Damien Karras have. Their bantering is really good. Their bantering is phenomenal, actually. I love it. I also love the scene where he visits Chris McNeil. It's both a intense yet very warm scene, especially near the end of the scene where Kinderman asks for Chris's autograph and they have like and they share a laugh together. So I thought that was pretty nice. And of course, I can't talk about this movie without Father Merrin, Max von Sydow himself. It is amazing to note that Max von Sydow was like in his early to mid 40s in this movie. He was a young man playing an older guy, and the makeup of it was so well done, you would never guessed it. And it's a credit to Max von Sydow as an actor, because he brought it to Father Merrin. I mean, you see him in the beginning, and he finds this idol, and I love how the way he looks at this idol. It's as if he's seen it before and there's a connection to it. Of course, you only see Father Merrin in the beginning of the movie, and then you see him in the last act. You know, he is the exorcist. He is the one to call. He is the one who had experience. And we find out later on in the movie that he actually does have experience with performing an exorcism, and that it nearly killed him. So he has a history that's shrouded in mystery. We get hints, but I like how the movie just doesn't go flat out and give me a backstory. I like the fact that it dropped hints and it didn't go full out. I can appreciate that. Like, I want my mind to fill in the gaps. Like, you give me the bullet points and I'll fill it in myself. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And Max von Sydow, A+ job, especially when we get to the third act, which is the big exorcism. And Max von Sydow is just bringing his A game. Jason Miller's right up there with him, bringing his A game, and Linda Blair is also bringing her A game. You got these three actors bringing their A game for this big exorcism scene. It's intense. It's genuinely creepy. It's scary at times. And there's no orchestra at all. It's no music, which again just heightens the tension in the scene. To me, if you had music during that scene, it would have felt too Hollywood. It would have felt too watered down. It would have not had the same effect. It would have just felt cheap to me. But having without music, it just intensifies the creepiness. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And of course, I love the whole last 5 minutes where, you know, Father Merrin dies. We don't see how he dies, but he's dead. And then, you know, Damien beats the shit out of the devil, and it's like, come into me, come into me. The devil comes into him. He goes to attack Raven, but Karras had enough strength to hold it in, and then he did this freaking like swan dive out of the window and kills himself. Perfect. And the way Damien Karras was written, you know, he's a tragic character from Jump Street. He's a tragic character who only has one end, and it ain't gonna be going into the sunset. It's gonna be a sacrifice, and I love how the movie gradually built up to that. And again, I also love the chemistry between Max von Sydow and Damien Karras, especially in a little break scene they have during the first half, like a little break scene on the staircase, having a little conversation, where Karras asks, "Why did the devil choose this little girl?" And then Father Merrin gives his version of an explanation, which I thought was phenomenal, which I thought was a great little scene between the two, and awesome. I can't praise this movie enough. From a technical standpoint, from an acting standpoint, from an overall production standpoint, this is a 10 out of 10. If you have not seen The Exorcist, watch it. It's worth it. This movie broke the rules for what became known as the horror movies. This was one of the first movies to actually bring the threat to a regular family. And a real threat too, and love it. To this day, this movie still has that same effect. It's the imagery, it's creepy, yet subtle at the same time. And like I said, the atmosphere just sucks you right in just from that opening scene in Iraq. So, 10 out of 10. This is the perfect film for me. This is a perfect film in my eyes. Anyway, I'm AJ Legend. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.